I think I first of all, I totally agree with you, Paul. I think that, if we look at the sacred events, let's say, or the sacred moments and sacred spaces that have created our time now, I think of Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and I think of the Holocaust. Like those are things that I think of in the sense that they are massive human sacrifices found that have founded the modern, like, let's say, post World War II state, and the entire world order is based on those events. All our narrative, everything we say, is all based on those events. We still, even today, like even Trump being elected is deeply ingrained in these sacred, let's say, stories. And so I completely agree. And that's why I present it as a kind of gray thing, like that the idea that the sacred is returning. It's both, it's like George Floyd was a little eruption of the sacred. It's like here's a fast where everybody is locked into their house, a human sacrifice, and then an ecstatic explosion. It's like, oh, yeah, yeah, I don't not sure we want that. But the thing is that in some ways, one of the things that is happening is that we're also exhausting the story. It's let's say, and it happens just naturally through time with people dying and generations moving away, and some aspects of the story that were also taboo are people are trying to talk about it in different ways. And so this is demythologization of the stories is also going to happen of that sacred origin. And so we can see attempts at that now. We can kind of see it happening. We can see this poke. And so it's calling for another foundation. Um, and so I agree that there's an aspect of it that is absolutely terrifying. But the problem is that it's going to these things are going to happen. Like there's no like for example, like this weird desire for World War III, like this weird, like, longing and dreaming of nuclear war at this moment, with a mix of fascination and terror that we can see in the eyes of people that keep talking about it. It's like that's a longing for the sacred too. Uh, it's a longing for something that will just set things right. Like it will make everything clear again, because now everything is muddy and nobody knows where they are and nobody knows what to think and nobody knows. It's like a good war. Let's just put everything in place. And so these are all things that are happening, and they're all things that are very frightening. And that's why I keep harping on the fact that I think the way that Jordan presents it, is deeply a Christian way of thinking of it. It's like the cross replaced this with self-sacrifice. It is the sacred, like it is the both the ultimate sacred and the disarming of the sacred, right? In the way that René Girard talks about it, but then also I think in a way that Girard misses, because it is still a anyways, there's something else going on in Jesus's cross that is not just a disarming of the sacred. It's a refounding of it in a way, in a deep way. So I think that it's weird, like the only solution to avoiding a sacred event in the big sense is to enact it personally, in a small way, almost like a kind of diffusion mechanism, like where we enact the 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 best aspects of the sacred in our lives and our families and our communities, and that can prevent the need for a new sacred foundation, which will be bloody. Like there's almost no other way for it to happen. Like, so I mean, you could imagine something. I mean, it could be something else. Maybe that's why Elon Musk wants to go to Mars, because he's looking for a sacred event. He's looking for something to refound us, something to give us a new direction, a new purpose. Maybe that's all these things are kind of bubbling up at the same time. But I agree with Paul that we cannot forget the what the sacred is and how it manifests itself.